Okay, let's unpack this. We have been handed an absolute Everest of biological trivia. I mean, a stack of notes covering everything from the weird chemicals that color teeth to creatures that literally defy death.
It's incredible.
This isn't just trivia night stuff. It's bizarre, high-stakes evolutionary engineering.
It really is. And we're looking at this huge volume of facts. So our mission today is to go beyond just, memorization. We need to see these details as these elegant, sometimes extreme, biological solutions
Solutions to what exactly?
to the universal challenges: how to eat, how to survive, and how to reproduce in environments that demand total, and I mean total, specialization. These aren't just animals. They are perfectly optimized machines of adaptation.
And what a journey you're in for. We've managed to organize these incredible nuggets into three main themes to try and make sense of the chaos.
Good luck with that.
First, we are redefining anatomy. We'll look at the highly specialized biological tools creatures use. Second, we'll hit the limits of biological tolerance with some extreme survival adaptations.
A lot of that is tied to metabolism, which is fascinating.
Totally. And finally, we'll wrap up with the surprisingly complex social quirks and the evolutionary kinship that governs life. So let's start with segment one. Redefining anatomy, the tools of the trade. I mean, the fact sheets you send over are just full of structures that completely defy human expectation, especially when it comes to something as basic as teeth.
Right.
We think of teeth as, white, bone hard, fixed. But then you look at the humble squirrel, its front teeth are bright orange.
And that orange color is actually the signature of some superior engineering. A squirrel's teeth, they never stop growing.
Never.
Never. Which is a constant maintenance challenge that's only solved by just ceaseless gnawing. That orange color comes from a high iron content in the outer enamel.
So it's literally rusty teeth.
You could think of it that way, yeah. This iron toughens the enamel dramatically, making it resistant to all that wear and tear.
It's like adding a steel alloy to concrete. But, okay, that's still fundamentally a tooth. Then you jump from a tiny squirrel to the narwhal, the unicorn of the sea, whose tusk is just one of the most counterintuitive things in the entire animal kingdom.
It absolutely is. That tusk, that spiral tusk, can grow up to 10 feet long. It's actually just one very elongated tooth.
And what's so wild is that it's essentially turned inside out, right?
Exactly. A normal tooth is hard on the outside, sensitive on the inside. The narwhal's tusk is the opposite. The softer, sensitive pulp is on the exterior, exposed to the ocean.
Wait, how does that even work? Why would you want that?
Because it's not really a weapon, like we used to think. It's an advanced sensory organ. It grows right through the upper lip, and that outer layer is porous, packed with millions of nerve endings. It lets the narwhal detect changes in water temperature, salinity, pressure.
So it's tasting the ocean.
It's tasting the ocean to find prey and navigate. It's a sophisticated antenna.
That completely changes everything. And speaking of surprising materials, let's talk about the rhino horn. Most people would just assume it's bone.
It's a classic misconception. A rhino horn has no bony core at all. It's made of keratin.
The exact same protein as our fingernails and hair.
The very same. It just shows how versatile biological materials can be. Evolution built this formidable defensive weapon without needing the weight or, the structural limits of bone.
Okay, let's move from what things are made of to pure mechanical efficiency. The woodpecker, for instance.
The woodpecker is basically a high-speed, shock-proof precision machine. It can peck wood 20 times per second.
20 times a second.
Which can add up to, 8 to 12,000 pecks a day without getting a concussion. Now, you contrast that focus speed with the simple efficiency of a caterpillar.
A soft, slow-moving caterpillar. What's its secret weapon?
Muscle density. That little creeping thing, it looks so simple, but it has around 4,000 muscles in its body.
4,000.
With nearly 250 in its head alone. That's what gives it the fine control it needs to move and grip and just constantly feed.
Which brings us to the anteater, which kind of engineered a way to bypass the need for muscular jaws completely.
Exactly. It needs to eat a huge volume of tiny prey. We're talking over 35,000 termites and ants a day. So to do that, it has no teeth at all. It just uses a super long, sticky tongue.
High-speed intake, not grinding force.
Precisely.
Now, let's switch to fluid management. The way frogs hydrate is just bafflingly efficient.
Frogs don't drink water, not in the way we do. They absorb everything they need directly through their skin.
Through their skin?
Yeah, through a special area called a drinking patch on their bellies and thighs. It saves them so much energy.
And the crocodile uses its tongue in the opposite way, not for drinking, but for defense.
Absolutely. The crocodile can't move its tongue. It's completely attached to the roof of its mouth.
Why? What's the point of that?
It's critical. It keeps the throat sealed shut, protecting the airway. It stops water from rushing into its lungs when it grabs prey underwater.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Let's talk about the moray eel. I had no idea these things have a hidden secondary weapon that seems like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie.
The moray eel has a truly alien adaptation. It's called a pharyngeal jaw. It's an extra set of jaws.
A second set of jaws.
Yeah, that can actually extend from its throat, slide forward into its mouth, and grab the prey.
Wait, it launches a second set of jaws. Why on earth would it need that?
Because of the physics of trying to eat underwater, most fish use suction. They just open their mouths really fast and vacuum prey in. But morays hunt prey that are, wedged in rocks.
Or just too big for suction.
Right. So when the main jaws bite down, these secondary jaws, which have backward-pointing teeth, shoot out, grab the meal, and physically drag it down the throat. It's an active grappling system.
Oh.
So moving from those incredible anatomical tools to biological limits, our second segment is all about extreme survival and incredible adaptation. These are the creatures that really push the boundaries.
And some of those boundaries are defined by speed, or even how they perceive time. The source note said that small animals with fast metabolisms basically experience the world in slow motion.
That's a powerful evolutionary trade-off. An animal with a really fast metabolic rate, like a flea, has a nervous system that fires incredibly quickly. So for them, visual input is processed in slow-mo compared to us.
Which is why they're so hard to swat.
Exactly. It gives them extra time to process a threat and escape.
And speaking of fleas, the power behind that jump is just staggering.
It is absolutely staggering. A flea can jump more than 200 times its body length. To put that in perspective for you, that's like a human jumping the height of the Empire State Building.
That's insane. And you juxtapose that incredible speed with the fixed focus of the owl.
Yes. Owls don't have spherical eyeballs. They have fixed eye tubes.
So they can't move their eyes in their sockets.
Not at all. The design maximizes light intake for hunting at night, but the trade-off is they have to rotate their entire head, sometimes up to 270 degrees, just to change focus.
Let's talk about some unexpected ways animals protect themselves, starting with the hippo, that reddish, oily stuff that looks like pink sweat.
It's not sweat for cooling, which is the key thing. It's an oily fluid. It's a multi-purpose defensive lotion.
A lotion?
Yeah, it moisturizes their skin, protects it from the sun, and it also has strong antibiotic properties to keep wounds clean.
And then there's the polar bear's coat, which is all about efficiency, but not in the way you'd think.
That's right. The surprising fact is that a polar bear's skin is actually black.
Black for heat absorption.
Exactly. But their hair is hollow and almost perfectly clear. The reason the bear looks white is because those hollow hairs scatter and reflect light. It provides amazing insulation and camouflage.
Okay, then we have creatures that survive by using almost no resources at all. The sloth is the king of slow digestion.
It can take up to 2 weeks for a sloth to digest a single meal. This incredibly slow metabolism is key to surviving on a low-energy diet of leaves.
But there's a major downside.
Well, a huge one. Sloths can't shiver. Shivering is a metabolic process to generate heat. If they get too hot or too cold, their slow-running system just shuts down.
And then you have invertebrates that can just wait for years.
Some species of tarantulas can survive without food for over 2 years, an astonishing level of energy conservation. And you contrast that with termites, which are on the complete other end of the spectrum.
They never sleep.
Never sleep. They can eat 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's the full spectrum, from perpetual motion to near stasis.
We often think aquatic animals are perfectly safe underwater, but your sources made it clear that a lot of them can actually drown.
Absolutely. Water snakes, dolphins, whales, alligators, turtles, they're all air breathers. They can hold their breath for incredible amounts of time, but if they get trapped or injured underwater for too long, they will drown.
And conversely, the jellyfish.
They're up to 98% water. If they wash ashore, the risk isn't drowning. The risk is that they can evaporate completely into the air in a few hours.
But the ultimate adaptation has to be the one that just circumvents death entirely. We're talking about biological immortality.
It really is the limit of what's possible. The immortal jellyfish, once it reaches maturity, can, if it gets stressed, just revert. It transforms back into its younger state, a tiny blob of tissue, and starts growing all over again.
It resets its own aging process.
It's a biological reset button. This process can, in theory, repeat indefinitely. It's the closest thing to true immortality we've ever found. And that brings us to our final segment. Social quirks, kinship, and sensory surprises. This is where biology dictates not just anatomy, but behavior, and these surprisingly deep evolutionary links.
Yeah, it's amazing how many animals share surprising traits with us.
Yeah.
Especially for identification, like the koala and the dog.
Koalas have fingerprints that are so remarkably similar to human ones that there are reports of them being confused at crime scenes.
No way.
It's a perfect example of convergent evolution. And with dogs, their nose prints are entirely unique. They can be used for identification just like our fingerprints.
And dolphin communication is on another level entirely.
It is. Bottlenose dolphins have developed specific signature whistles that basically function as individual names for each other. It's a huge leap in abstract social signaling.
But where some senses are highly developed, others are completely missing, and that guides their whole diet. I was no surprise to learn that cats can't taste sweet things.
It's a crucial sensory gap. Cats are pure carnivores. They lack the gene to make the right taste receptors, so they just can't detect sweetness. Evolution didn't require it for them.
And birds have a different kind of sensory gap with chili peppers.
Right, they can happily eat them. Capsaicin, the chemical that makes peppers hot, doesn't bother them at all.
Why not?
They lack the specific receptors to register it. And the theory is that this is an adaptation. It ensures birds eat the fruit and disperse the seeds because the seeds pass through their digestive tracts unharmed, unlike in mammals.
Speaking of specialized eating, the flamingo's whole mechanism is inverted.
It is. Flamingos can only eat with their heads upside down. With most birds, the upper bill is fixed and the lower one moves. Flamingos are the opposite. The massive lower bill is the scoop, and the whole thing only works when their head is inverted to filter water.
Let's move to the evolutionary shockers. The T-Rex family tree is unexpected.
This is the fact that always throws people. It sounds like a joke, but the closest living relatives of the Tyrannosaurus rex are chickens and ostriches. Chickens. It shows this massive evolutionary downsizing and specialization, but you can still see echoes of their dinosaur past in their bone structure.
And the elephant shrew, which sounds like a rodent.
Isn't one? Despite the name and that little trunk-like nose, they are genetically more closely related to elephants and sea cows than they are to shrews.
Wow. Okay, and what about social structures? Sea otters holding hands is famous, but it's pure survival.
Pure survival. They link paws or get tangled in seaweed while they nap so they don't drift away from their group. It's all about safety and group cohesion.
And the whole king of the jungle idea for lions is just wrong.
Totally wrong. Up to 90% of all hunting is done by the females. The larger, more visible males are mostly in charge of protecting the territory and the pride.
And what about our house cats? The meow isn't for other cats.
Not usually, no. They primarily use meowing to get attention, food, or, interaction from humans. They developed it for us.
And finishing up with biology and behavior, the clownfish.
A perfect example of biological fluidity. All clownfish are born male. But when the dominant female in a group dies, the largest male can irreversibly change into a female to ensure the group can keep reproducing.
A programmed, permanent sex change. Amazing.
Yeah.
And then you have seahorses.
They mate for life. They often travel side by side, holding onto each other's tails.
And finally, the toucan's sleeping posture. It just sounds impossible.
It requires extreme efficiency. They curl into this tight ball. They turn their heads so their tail covers their head, and that huge beak rests entirely on their back. It's an incredibly compact and camouflaged way to sleep.
So what does this all mean? We've gone from a hidden second set of jaws and orange iron-fortified teeth to the fact that the T-Rex is basically kin to a chicken. The world is a much stranger and far more specifically engineered place than we give it credit for.
It means life is the ultimate engineer, and constraints are the mother of invention. Every single adaptation we've discussed, the narwhal's sensory tusk, the black skin of the polar bear, the sloth's metabolism, it's just the most efficient and sometimes the most bizarre solution to a survival problem.
Right.
Evolution is constantly reusing and repurposing biological materials. It's using keratin for horns, it's adapting jaws for underwater feeding. It just finds a way.
And when you look at these extremes side by side, it really presents a biological paradox for you to think about. If the immortal jellyfish can continually reset its biological clock, essentially living forever, and yet the sloth needs 2 weeks just to digest a single meal, what does that tell us about the relationship between energy use, adaptation, and the ultimate limits of life?
Yeah, it's a great question. We encourage you to consider which of these adaptations, the one that stops time or the one that saves every last calorie, is really the most evolutionarily successful model.